Often in life, you can look forward to things so much that when they actually happen, they can't help but be an anticlimax. Driving the LaFerrari at Fiorano, however, is not likely to be one of those occasions. And this is why. Designed in-house by Ferrari and engineered almost entirely by Maranello's own fair hand, the LaFerrari is, as its name suggests, the ultimate Ferrari. At the centre of the car sits a 6.2 litre normally aspirated V12 that generates 790 bhp and 516 pounds-feet of torque. But also behind and beneath the seats sits a 60 kilogram lithium-ion battery pack, which via an electric motor provides a further 160 horsepower and 199 pounds-feet of torque to give combined outputs of 950 bhp and 715 pounds-feet. This is then sent to the rear wheels and the rear wheels only via a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox made for Ferrari by Getrag. As with the P1 and 918, the LaFerrari features a carbon fibre tub onto which the engine and suspension are mounted. At each corner there are double wishbones and coil springs with electronically controlled dampers, plus an enormous carbon ceramic brake disc made by Brembo, those at the front measuring 398mm, those at the rear 380. Electronics play a huge role in the car's engineering and in the delivery of its vast dynamic repertoire. Wings at the front and rear are actively deployed on the move to provide two different configurations, high and low downforce, with a maximum of 360 kilograms being produced at 200 kilometers an hour, according to Ferrari.
This is mad. I am actually shaking slightly. No, you can't see it, but I'm shaking a bit inside. Whew. This is the LaFerrari, in case you didn't know. And as far as I can tell, I am actually going to be the first person outside of the factory to be allowed to drive it. This is Group 1, this is day 1. It is 9:30 in the morning. I've just had a very large double espresso, which is probably not that wise an idea. God, I don't know where to start with this thing. It just feels absolutely fantastic inside. There's this bespoke seating position, fixed seat, where you get your bum miles closer to the ground in any other car. And it just feels awesome inside here. The pedals are adjustable, the steering wheel is adjustable. But other than that, it is what it is. It's a driving position and you can't change the seat. You can change one or two other things. I think it's time to head out. Okay, we're moving in the LaFerrari. One of the things that Ferrari decided not to do was have buttons all over the place. So all you have is this Manettino switch, just as you do in any other Ferrari. And I really like that because there is so much going on in this car elsewhere. You don't want a load of other buttons to have to play with. So I am in, let's start off with Sport. Oh, you can immediately feel the effects of the Pico system on the throttle response. I've just moved the throttle there about 1/1000th of an inch and you get this sudden burst of acceleration. It feels quite soft, but then that's because they've got the centre of gravity really low, which means that they've actually been able to put the damper and the spring settings quite a lot softer than you otherwise would. God, I feel so lucky to be doing this. I'm just going to build up to it gently and try and describe what's going on. There's a lot of noise from the V12 engine going on behind me. Beautiful brake feel. They've worked endlessly on getting the brake feel right in this car. Oh my word. Lovely steering, quite light steering. Almighty it goes when you put your foot down. I've got nowhere near the red line yet, but right, that's fourth gear. Wow! Throttle response is mental. Truth. Everything is just so instant. I don't know why, but the windscreen wiper keeps going off whenever I accelerate hard. I mean, you can quite clearly feel that there is a stack load of aerodynamic grip. Okay, I'm going to go up to race, which allows you a little bit of slip, I think, but obviously the traction control works very heavily at the same time. Second gear out of the hairpin, right, let's see what it does. The noise is just flipping incredible as well. Gearbox is just right there, bang on every time where you want it to be. Bloody hell, this car is... got some aero grip as well. Aero grip and mechanical grip. And a lot of windscreen wiper as well. I will never tire of the way this car stops. It is, however, the way it goes that does your head in. Just a little whiff of understeer there because I went in too quickly. Off the throttle past the pits. In fourth gear, ready. Down to third, go. Oh! That punch in the back is just madness. Lovely turning, really lovely turning. Just float it around this corner. You can really start to feel the aero there. A tiny bit of understeer there. Wow, that's new. Windscreen wiper's gone off again. See, it just works so nicely over those curves. So this is how friendly the LaFerrari is on the limit. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You should not be able to do that with a 950 horsepower mid-engine Ferrari. But you can. That's how beautifully balanced this thing is. That's how friendly it is on the limits. How soft all the responses are. It's just move this thing. Oh my goodness, I'm starting to get a bit carried away in a 1.2 million euro LaFerrari. car is so fast. So much fun though! Okay, calm down, Sutcliffe. Right. What is this car like to drive? It feels, and Ferrari will take this as the greatest compliment of all, I think, it feels like a 458 with 1,000 horsepower V12 in it. Why do I mean that to be a compliment? Because everything it does feels very much kind of friendly and predictable and manageable, like it is in a 458. The differences are that when you put your foot down, you light another extra 4 afterburners and go towards the horizon at a lick at which a 458 owner might actually have a heart attack the first time they experience. It is that savage, and there is that much acceleration. It's magnificent. But the thing is, when you get to the braking area, it feels like it stops way better than a 458, which is just as well, because you arrive at the braking area, it's going about 30% faster. But it's just a lovely softness and predictability and compliance and friendliness to the handling. The steering is hyper alert. You do need to have kind of soft, gentle inputs. You don't want to muscle it around the place, because I think you will start to upset it. It's that kind of finely tuned in its responses. But oh my goodness me, there's going to be 499 lucky people with these things, I tell you. This thing is just lovely to drive. Absolutely lovely to drive. So I spent all morning in the LaFerrari on Fiorano circuit, and my brain is pretty frazzled by it, I have to admit. It's just such an approachable, friendly thing to drive, as you can see from being able to slide it around so easily, bearing in mind it's got 950 horsepower. But we've done that bit. This is what it's like on the road, and just immediately the ride quality, the damping, the whole suspension dynamic is just, it's just amazing. I mean, this is not a nice road that I'm driving on here. The surface is really rubbish, really rutted and bad. But it just feels, you know, compliant. They have managed to build a hypercar in the LaFerrari that I really think you could use every single day of every year. I'm not quite sure what that says about the kind of sense of occasion that the LaFerrari's got. I mean, it's a really special car, but I don't know, should a car like this be, you know, a little bit more difficult to get at the meat of what it can do? I don't know, I really don't know. This is brand new for me. The gearbox reckons Ferrari is faster than ever, faster than the F12s, the 458 Speciales, and it really does feel it on the move. You just move your fingers a little bit and it absolutely snaps into the next gear. And it does it up or down. The gearbox is phenomenal in this thing. Okay, the brake power we've seen on the circuit is immense, and it feels really natural, but there's just loads of feel to the brakes on this road as well. I was a bit worried that it might feel a bit dead and a bit weird, as some hybrid cars do when braking from not kind of, you know, big track speeds, but the brakes are just immense. Oh, honestly, that is outrageous. That is absolutely outrageous, the way this thing just takes off. And it's you can feel, you really can detect the kind of extra punch that you get from the high curve system. It just lights up the throttle response. It gives you just a massive feeling of torque before the combustion engine has its way, and then the combustion engine kicks in and has a combination. And yet there's no kind of flow, there's no kind of moment where you can feel one taking over from the other, or the high curve system fading away. It's just this guy, this relentless smash in the back of your head. I've never experienced anything like it. Not even in a Veyron, I'll tell you. Really. I love the way they've set the steering up on this car. All the time, this thing is monitoring how fast it's going, how much G it's pulling, what kind of yaw it's being subjected to, and all the time it is changing the parameters of the dampers, the suspension, the steering, everything is changing as you're going along. And yet, it feels completely natural. That is what the LaFerrari does best. It feels like a proper, natural, hot rod, hypercar suit, despite the fact that it's got all this stuff on it. That's his best trick of all.
So that's it then. The LaFerrari is, as anticipated, an utterly incredible car. Better than you can imagine in just about any way. The most surprising and impressive thing of all is how friendly it is, how accessible its performance is, and how easy it is to enjoy as a result. Better than a McLaren P1? We hope to answer that particular question sincerely and soon.